This amazing story begins with a scientist presenting his research in front of everyone. The scientist reveals that, apart from our solar system, there exists another solar system in the universe. After further investigation, it was discovered that this other solar system contains a planet very similar to Earth. From all this data, the scientist speculates that just like intelligent beings live on Earth, there could be similar beings on that other planet, possibly even more advanced than us in terms of technology. Now, humans are naturally curious. So when this information reached NASA and several astronomical agencies, they decided to send signals toward that direction. All these radio signals were fired toward the location of that other planet in the solar system. Now all they could do was wait for a reply from the other side. Months passed by. Then suddenly, NASA's headquarters detected that something was approaching Earth. These were 4 spaceship-like objects directly entering Earth's atmosphere. The shocking part was they were coming from that other planet. It meant the intelligent beings living there had received the signal and tracked its location, sending several of their machines here. Unfortunately, one of the alien spaceships collided with a satellite and got severely damaged, ultimately crashing and exploding on Earth. The rest of the advanced spacecraft went and hid underwater in the ocean. NASA and the military were immediately alerted and activated their operations to investigate. Many Navy ships were sent to the location to examine and report everything. Several naval ships reached the spot where the 3 alien ships had landed. On one of those ships was a brave soldier named Alex, who kept moving forward with his team. Surprisingly, the location of the alien spaceships was visible on radar, but they weren't actually seen at that spot. It seemed like the aliens had cloaking or invisibility technology. Suddenly, as they moved closer, the panels of the 3 spaceships began to rise, and waves started emitting from them. These waves were so powerful that they spread across the sky, forming a circular path, essentially a force field. Any ship caught inside that large circular area was now completely trapped. Those who were outside couldn't get in. Air forces arrived to assist, but one military aircraft tried entering the circular zone. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible at all. As soon as the aircraft tried to cross the boundary, it was destroyed. This clearly showed that no one could now enter the circular zone. Even the communication of the Navy officers who were inside the circular path suddenly went dead. It meant that the advanced aliens had planned all of this beforehand. When the brave officer named Alex tried to touch that circular boundary, he received a huge shock. He immediately fell back and warned his soldiers not to go near it. None of them could understand what these intelligent beings from another world actually wanted. But one thing was clear: they were far more advanced than humans. All the Navy forces began surrounding the area, preparing to attack together. But suddenly, a massive machine emerged from the water. It looked extremely aggressive, and from its movements, it was clear that it had come to attack humans. One of the Navy ships was the first to open fire, thinking it was a threat. However, even after firing, their aim wasn't exact. This enraged the deadly alien war machine, and it understood that these were enemies. It immediately used its advanced weapons to destroy the Navy ship. All the officers inside were killed, and soon after, it destroyed another ship just as easily. Many drowned in the water, and others were killed in the explosions. This deadly alien machine would first detect whether the opponent was attacking or not, and if it sensed even the slightest threat, it would instantly retaliate and eliminate the target. Humans had no idea how advanced the alien technology truly was. Now Alex, overwhelmed and frustrated, climbed onto his ship. He was informed that the commander and all other key personnel had been killed. That meant Alex was now the only one left to take command of the ship. For a moment he was completely blank, unsure of what to do. But then, filled with rage, he decided to attack the alien species. He moved his ship forward with that intention. Another Navy ship nearby noticed that Alex was heading straight toward the alien spaceships. This could be extremely dangerous. The crew of that other Navy ship believed it was time to attack, so they immediately launched an assault. But in the end, this only led to complete destruction. The alien ship destroyed them too. With so many already dead, Alex knew he couldn't win this fight. Not right now. He had to rescue his teammates who were drowning in the sea. So, even though he didn't want to, Alex turned his ship in the opposite direction. At that moment, the alien war machine detected that Alex's ship posed no threat. Since they were retreating, the war machine didn't attack. In the very next moment, small circular drones began to emerge from inside the alien machine. These circles started flying. No one knew exactly where, but they were headed toward the city. These circular alien drones first scanned their surroundings to detect whether anything posed a threat to them or not. At one point during their destruction spree, a child came in front of them. After thoroughly scanning the child, they determined he was not a threat. So, The circular drones didn't attack the child and flew away in another direction. This clearly showed that the aliens hadn't come to kill innocent people. Instead, they were targeting only those who they perceived as threats and destroying them. This same kind of destruction began happening at every military base in the city. The soldiers had no idea how to stop this alien species. No one could give them any answers. Meanwhile, on the other side, Alex and his teammates were still trapped inside the barrier created by the aliens. Now we see inside their ship that Alex's team had captured one of the aliens. This was the same alien whose ship had crashed into a satellite and had fallen down. Alex and his team were curious to understand what these aliens were made of. When they removed the alien's mask, they were shocked to see that the alien looked almost exactly like a human. Only a few small differences made them an advanced species. The alien was also wearing a suit, likely designed to help it breathe in Earth's environment, and it looked incredibly high-tech. As soon as Alex started looking into the alien's eyes, the alien suddenly regained consciousness. It then placed its hand on Alex's head and started communicating telepathically. Yes, these aliens could also use telepathy. Through the visions shown by the alien, Alex saw only destruction. He understood that this alien species had come to Earth many years ago. They were responsible for destroying the planet at that time, and were also the reason for the extinction of the dinosaurs. Alex realized that now these aliens were planning to wipe out humans as well. They were going to bring their entire army to Earth and exterminate everyone. Alex stepped back from the alien in shock. But just then, several other aliens arrived on the ship. They had come to rescue their fellow comrade. The advanced aliens first entered the Navy ship to assess what, if anything, could be a threat to them. None of the crew members had weapons, so the aliens didn't harm them and allowed them to leave. They also successfully recovered their injured comrade. At this point, the Navy officers realized that they couldn't fight the aliens, so they decided to leave the injured alien behind. Other alien members soon arrived and began taking him away. However, one alien robot still remained on the ship, conducting an inspection. Its job was to find any weapons on board and destroy them. As the robot reached the lower deck, it noticed a man standing there. Behind that man was a powerful military-grade cannon, one that the forces used to fire on enemies. This meant the alien would now attempt to destroy that weapon. At that moment, Alex arrived on the scene with his female friend. Alex had already figured out that the alien would try to attack them, so he came up with a plan. He sent his friend to the control room and told her to wait for his signal. Alex then confronted the alien, luring it up to the upper deck, clearly setting the stage for a one-on-one battle. He knew he couldn't defeat the alien in physical combat. He wasn't strong enough. So the plan was to bring the alien directly in front of the cannon, and once it was in position, his friend in the control room would fire. Alex taunted the alien and lured it toward him. When the positioning was just right, he gave the signal. His friend, watching from the control room, immediately fired the cannon. Alex quickly jumped aside, and the powerful blast hit the alien directly. The explosion was massive. The alien couldn't withstand it. Its body was completely destroyed. Alex had cleverly used his wits to defeat an advanced alien. But what they didn't know was that even more aliens had now reached Earth, determined to carry out a much larger mission. A group of aliens was already advancing through the forests toward the NASA headquarters, the same place where signals were originally sent to the other planet. This facility had massive antennas used to transmit radio signals. The aliens now wanted to take control of that location for their own use. The real issue was that whenever the aliens travel, they bring a special kind of spaceship with them, specifically used for communication. But that communication ship had been destroyed while entering Earth's atmosphere. That meant they had no way of contacting their home planet now. So they needed to find another way to establish contact. That's why the aliens arrived at the satellite facility, the one that had received their signal in the first place. They planned to use NASA's entire laboratory and communication systems to send a signal back to their planet and call in a much larger alien army. The military and Navy had only a few hours left to save Earth and humanity. Everyone was desperately trying to think of a proper solution. That's when Alex's senior officer stepped forward and shared an idea. He explained how weather forecasters could predict wave conditions so precisely. It was because of a special device they used, which was placed in the middle of the ocean. The device's job was to study the movement of ocean waves. If the waves were particularly fast or violent, it would report different readings. So, according to the senior officer, wherever the alien spaceship was located, the movement of the ocean waves around that area would be intense. Therefore, to find the exact location of the alien spacecraft, they needed to measure those oceanic signals. Wherever the frequency was highest, that's where the alien ship was likely hiding. This approach would require a lot of expertise, but no one was willing to give up. They started applying the strategy described by their senior. They contacted all available wave-measuring devices in the ocean and began analyzing the data carefully. Across the entire map, they saw disturbances in many areas, but the north side showed the most intense readings. That's when they understood the alien spacecraft was likely there. Alex's team quickly figured it out, aimed at that location, and launched an attack. Their strike was aimed in the correct direction, but the alien ship detected the attack and dove underwater for a while to avoid it. Because of this attack, the aliens were now fully alert, and soon, 2 of their spaceships surfaced above the ocean, ready to respond. The aliens had now begun to strike back, having realized that humans were launching attacks even at night. It had become critical for them to eliminate their enemies. Alex and his senior officer's team kept moving their ship in different directions to avoid any damage. They continued to evade the alien attacks, but they couldn't move beyond the circular path. They were still trapped within its boundary. Alex's team soon found themselves in a position where alien spacecraft were closing in from both sides. If they didn't act quickly, both ships would destroy them. However, a major problem remained. Alex's ship was still stuck inside the circular zone, and there was no way to cross it in the conventional manner. They had to come up with a solution quickly. The Navy team soon discovered that the third and most powerful alien, Mother spaceship, was heading straight toward them. If even one of its attacks hit their ship, everything would be destroyed. Still, they had no choice but to take that risk. It was the only chance they had to stop the enemy. Sunrise was only a few hours away, so keeping that in mind, Alex came up with a plan. On the map, he noticed a small island and suggested they maneuver their ship behind it. His idea was that when the sun rose, its bright light would shine directly onto the aliens. For a brief moment, the intense sunlight would blind them, just enough for Alex and his team to launch a surprise attack on the alien mothership. Everyone agreed that the plan was solid, so they began steering the ship toward the island. They successfully navigated behind the island, and soon, daylight began to break. The alien's second spacecraft was already in position, fully armed and ready to attack. But then, just as Alex had predicted, the first rays of the sun began shining directly onto the alien craft. The light was so intense that the aliens inside couldn't see clearly, and that was the moment the Navy officers seized the opportunity to strike. Their aim was perfect. The attack hit the enemy ship hard, and soon it began to explode. They had successfully destroyed the third alien spacecraft. Victory was in sight, but suddenly, something massive started emerging from beneath the ocean, the Mother spaceship, the largest and deadliest alien vessel. It immediately launched an attack and deployed its circular robots, those destructive drones that landed right onto Alex's ship and started wreaking havoc. The crew had no choice but to abandon ship. One by one, the officers jumped off to save their lives, knowing their ship was doomed. Alex too barely escaped, swimming toward the shore with nothing but survival on his mind. Their only remaining ship was now destroyed. The survivors regrouped at a nearby port, but hope was almost gone. They knew that in just a few hours, if nothing was done, the aliens would successfully transmit their signal to their home planet. And now they had no ship, no weapons, nothing that could stop them. But then, someone noticed an old, rusted Navy ship docked at the harbor. It had once been used during World War II and was now just sitting there as a historical exhibit. This was their final chance. Alex climbed aboard the old warship. The officers who used to operate it had long retired. But when Alex reached out to them and pleaded for their help, he shared his belief. This old ship might still be able to take down the alien mothership. After all, a ship is just a machine, but the people who command it are its true strength. He trusted the experience of those retired officers. The veterans could have said no, but they knew this mission wasn't for glory. It was to save humanity. So they agreed. They took command once again and started sailing the old warship toward the alien mothership, prepared to fight one last time. But can an ancient battleship and a crew of retired officers really defeat such advanced alien enemies? This is how our part 1 of story ends.